I got a lot of goals for 2026. Actually, scratch that. I don't have a lot of goals. I have a lot of goals that I'm bringing from previous years into 2026. Because I'm not the biggest fan of the new year. I'm really not. And I haven't been for the past couple years. And here's why. To me, the New Year's has almost seemed like a placebo effect to me, right? It's been one of those things where we change the chapter, we turn over a new leaf, time resets, we got a whole blank canvas. But to me, it doesn't feel that way. It really, is it? I mean, it's not like all time resets and the world just changes and no, it's not really how it works. Honestly, time is still flowing. Things are still the same unless you change it. You can sit there all you want, and if you were struggling and depressed or grieving or sad and angry, just because a clock struck midnight doesn't mean all that's going to change. And I know that's a pessimistic view, but that's kind of the view I have gained about the New Year's over time because I didn't really trust myself to do what I needed to do in the new year to see actual changes. You know, I burned myself out on the thought of progress rather than making actual progress. And I'm just being honest. But you know what? I'm back. And I'm going to enjoy this episode because I think you're going to enjoy this episode because I think it's time to talk about the new year and why I'm just not that excited for it. And why that actually may be a good thing. You already know what time it is. Welcome to the narrative of Niles Niseem. Let's get this show on the road. And we are back with another episode of the narrative of Niles Niseem with your host, me, Niles Niseem, here to give you 10 to 15 minutes of weekly motivation so that you can become the person that you want to become. And today we are talking about the New Year's resolutions, why I'm not the biggest fan of them. And I'm not the biggest fan of them, like I said, because of me. All right. I'm always going to turn it back to me because I'm the only thing that I can control in this life. And sometimes I can barely control that. And one of the things I've learned about the New Year's, every time I approach it, I find myself in the same kind of positions. You know, I laugh because I always see posts on social media talking about this is my year and this is going to be my season. And it's so funny because I know people that post that and they've been stuck in a rut since 2019. And I'm like, when you gonna stop posting quotes in this actually make it actually your year? And while I'm sitting there laughing at them and judging them, I'm in the same boat a lot of times because I won't post it. But there's a lot of times in my mind where I will sit there and say that. I'll sit there and say the mantra and say the chant that this is my year, new me, da da da, and get all excited. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I believe in positive manifestations, not in the weird sense. I believe, you manifest things through work and through prayer with God and that kind of stuff. But I do believe in speaking things into existence. I do, but I also understand that words can only go so far if there isn't any work. And I realize there's a lot of times that I put so much energy in the words and the thought of making progress and growth that by the time I actually made the growth, it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. Or it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen, right? And a lot of times my resolutions weren't reasonable, okay? And I would sit there and I would come guns blazing, being gun-ho, thinking, okay, I'm going to sit here and I've done this for New Year's resolution. Yeah, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to work out 3 times a day and I'm going to do this and I'm going to study for this amount of hours and I'm going to make this happen. And there's not that much time in the day. I would sit there and come up with the resolution, and then I would try to come with a plan for the resolution, and then I would sit there and burn myself out coming up with the plan to try to stay on track with the resolution. By the time I actually wanted to do it, I didn't have no energy, and I just was mentally drained, and I just gave up on it. And there's a lot of times where I probably could have been so much farther in life if I just would have figured out how to not spend so much energy on just the words and the thought, and rather just the work. And that's what I'm coming into this new year about. I'm not really excited. I'm not really having any new goals for 2026 because I'm going to be honest, I didn't reach what I wanted to reach in 2025. So the work still needs to be done. And that's the reason why I think my energy level is even different. I think sometimes you get to a point where And I don't know if you've ever felt like this in life. You get to a point where you're done with the performative actions. You're done trying to seem and act excited. No, there's times where you just want to see results. And that's where I am in life. I don't want to do no jumping up and down. I don't want to do no shouting, hooting, hollering, oh my gosh, this is going to be my year. I don't want to say nothing until I know that I'm seeing the results that I want to see. And not even just seeing the results, I want to make sure that I am faithful and consistent to the process of progress as well. Just getting up and doing, eliminating procrastination. If keeping my word, if I said I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Finding time, making time. A lot of times I sit there and I'm saying, you know what, man, I ain't got the time to work out, or I ain't got the time to create this content, or I ain't got the time to learn this skill that I want to learn, or learn this bit of information and knowledge. Yet I have the time to find myself on TikTok for 3 hours a day, doom scrolling. And this isn't something where I'm casting some aspersions on me, because sometimes I'm mentally tired, but you got to push through that. You got to focus. That's my number one prayer for this year. God, give me the strength to focus. God, give me the strength to laser in on what I want to do. When I have a task, don't sit there and go, it's funny, my mom and I say, we call them squirrels, in the sense of, if you ever seen a dog, as soon as it sees a squirrel, its attention just snaps from what it was looking at to the squirrel. It's like squirrel. And that's how our minds and my minds can do sometimes. I got squirrels. One little thing can throw me off track and I can get off focus. And I'm praying for the strength to focus, the strength to be precise, the strength to look down the barrel of the gun this new year and really make things happen. Now, some days I'm going to hit the mark. Some days I'm not. And I got to also make sure that I give myself the respect and grace. I understand I am human and that there are days we just can't control everything. Sometimes we have to go with the flow. But for most of this year, it is my prayer that I stay consistent to the process of progress, like I said, because I'm done leaving a new year trying to scrape and claw and see the bright side of things when it comes to growth. I can never say I've left a year stagnant. I've always grown. But the problem is that at the end of every year, I always have to look at it from some kind of different perspective to see my growth. Look at it from a different lens, see it from a different angle, because the direct view of the growth that I wanted to see in myself, I didn't really accomplish in the way I thought I was. But 2026 is the year where I am going to accomplish that growth, because I'm going to keep my word to myself. I'm going to do what I set out to do. I'm going to work harder than I ever worked before. I'm going to work smarter than I ever worked before. And I'm going to work and be more precise than I've ever been before. Because I can't go another year not getting closer to the destination and the dreams that I want to get to. I can't take it anymore. When we do this end of the year podcast, I want to be able to tell you I was able to progress the exact way I saw it. Now, if God has a different plan, so be it. Because usually whatever he has is better. But I want that plan to come in the midst of while I'm still working. And I really want to get into the weeds of this conversation for you, because I don't know what it is about us that has us trapped in this area of purgatory and stagnation a lot of times when it comes to going after our goals and pushing ourselves. And a lot of times really what it is that it's harder than what it looks. It's harder than what it seems. And going after our goals is not easy. It's not easy at all. We have a lot of things that we want to do. We have a lot of things that we have to do. We have things that conflict and coincide with jobs, work, kids, social lives. And trying to do this balancing act is not easy. So I applaud you for doing the best you can right now. But at the end of the day, the job still has to get done, because at what point do we take ourselves off the hamster wheel and do what we need to do? Because life is still going to move. Time is still going to go. It waits for no man. Life is not going to stop itself and then resume itself when you choose to chase your dream. It'll just leave you behind. And so while we have all the excuses in the world that are valid excuses don't lead us to victory. It doesn't. We still have to make it happen. And so for you and me this year, this is the year we make it happen. and not performative. Not just sitting there and making those vision boards and then just making them wall decorations for the year. Not just sitting there and making that list and then we never open that notebook page again after 2 weeks. Not just sitting there and posting all these quotes on Instagram and posting all these reels and all this stuff. No. This is the year where we really put our head down and we pray for precision and focus. Because I believe you can do it this year. I believe you can go to heights unparalleled. I believe that you can do things that you didn't even think was possible. I believe that you can focus so much this year and make so much progress that what you thought was great will merely become average to you. By the time you're done with these 12 months, your whole perspective on who you are and what you're capable of is going to switch. That you might even be frustrated at yourself of what you thought your goals were last year. I really do think that this is going to be a special year for you and me. I really do. Because I believe that the person watching this has had enough New Year's where the same old crap has happened. And I think you've gotten to a place where enough is enough. Welcome to the club. So I pray for you today. I hope this motivates you today. And this isn't going to be a long podcast because I don't need to belabor the point. You know what you need to do. So let's get out there and do it. Let's get out there and do it. Let's get in the mix in 2026. I love y'all. I'll see you on the next episode.